Notice. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation itself, but your thoughts about it. You have a voice in your head, yet you hardly notice it because you believe that voice is who you are. No one notices because almost all of us suffer from this, so we treat it as normal. Whenever you're thinking, you assume it's you who's doing it. We trust that voice and identify with it, so we're always thinking. Right now, that voice in your head is probably saying something like, "I don't have a voice in my head." This relentless mental noise keeps us from finding a state of inner calm. And because of that, we can't discover who we really are. It tricks the mind into creating a false self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering over us. The compulsive thinker, pretty much everyone, lives in a world crowded with conflicts and problems. Out-of-balance thinking has become an illness. Used properly, the mind is a magnificent tool. Used poorly, it can be destructive. There's nothing wrong with cells dividing in the human body, but when they multiply without regard for the organism as a whole, they give rise to disease. More precisely, it's not you who misuses the mind. Most of the time, you simply don't use it. The mind uses you, and that's the problem. You believe you are your mind, that you are your thoughts. There lies the delusion. The tool has taken over its owner. Understand this. You could drop the mind whenever you choose. If you haven't yet found the switch that turns it off, then the mind is running you. We're so identified with it that we don't even notice we're its servants. You are not your mind. If someone walks into a doctor's office and says, "I hear a voice in my head," they'll probably be sent to a psychiatrist. Yet almost everyone hears a voice, or a chorus of voices, inside their head all the time. These are the involuntary thought processes we think we can't stop, running as a continuous monologue or dialogue. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, excuses, approves, disapproves, and so on. It doesn't have to match what's happening right now. It may replay the past or rehearse possible futures. Sometimes there's a mental movie playing along with the soundtrack, and we judge the present through the lens of the past, ending up with a distorted picture. It's not uncommon for this voice to turn into our worst enemy. Many people live with a tormentor in their heads that attacks and punishes them non-stop, draining their energy. That's the root of much anxiety, unhappiness, and even illness. The good news: we can free ourselves from the mind. That's the only real liberation. Begin right now. Start listening to what the voice says, especially the repetitive loops you've been hearing for years. Freedom begins the moment we realize we're not the voice, not the thinker. Seeing this lets us watch the entity, become the witness of your thoughts. You exist beneath the mental noise. You are consciousness masquerading as a person. The minute you start observing the thinker, you awaken a higher level of awareness. Then you sense that there's a vast field of intelligence beyond thought, and thought is only a small part of it. You see that everything truly important, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, rises from a source beyond the mind. That's when the awakening begins. Just watch. Listen to the voice in your head, and be there as the silent witness, Stay neutral. Don't judge or condemn what you hear, because judgment is just the voice sneaking in the back door. Soon you'll notice. There's the voice, and here I am, listening, watching, feeling presence itself. That presence isn't a thought. It wells up from beyond the mind. So when you hear a thought, you're aware not only of the thought but of yourself as the witness. A new dimension of consciousness has arisen. You sense a conscious presence, your deepest self, behind the thought. At that point, the thought loses its grip and quickly subsides, because the mind is no longer fueled by your identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary, compulsive thinking. As thoughts pull back, you notice a gap in the mental stream, an empty space. At first, those gaps last only a few seconds, but they gradually widen. Whenever a gap opens, you feel a quiet peace inside. That's the beginning of the natural state of oneness with being, normally veiled by the mind. It's not a selfish state. It's a state of generosity. With practice, the peace deepens without limit. A subtle joy surfaces from within, the joy of being. In this state of inner connection, you're intensely alert, fully present. As you settle more deeply into this space of no mind, you taste pure consciousness. You feel your own presence so vividly that thoughts, emotions, your body, and the outer world all seem secondary. Besides watching the thinker, you can also create space in the mind's flow by putting your full attention on the now, becoming acutely aware of the present moment. Doing this shifts awareness out of mental activity and opens a clear space where you're wide awake. That's the essence of meditation. In daily life, turn routine tasks, usually just means to an end, into ends in themselves by giving them your full attention. Whenever you go up or down stairs, focus on each step, each movement, even your breathing. When you wash your hands, feel the water, the motion of your hands, the scent of the soap. Or when you get into your car, pause for a few seconds after closing the door and notice your breathing. Be totally present. Sense the quiet yet powerful presence. Each time you open a gap in thinking, the light of consciousness brightens. Measure your progress by the peace you feel inside. Gradually, you stop identifying with the mind and align with silence, with the now. As you practice presence and watch your thoughts, one day you may catch yourself smiling at the voice in your head, just as you'd smile at a child's prank. That smile means you no longer take the mind's chatter so seriously. Your identity has moved beyond it. In short, the biggest obstacle is believing we are the mind. The most important step toward awakening is learning to disidentify from it. This shift is available to everyone. Right here, right now.